What's up, everybody? It's Michaela, and welcome back to another episode of Not Your Average Tuesday, where we talk all things business, all things finance, and all things Tomboy Tuesday. So, this week we are just going to be talking about the basics of business. This is for the people who are interested in starting a business or starting their business over. I know a lot of times when you are in your business for so many years and you kind of feel stuck and you don't know what to do or where to go, um, you get to a point where you want to rebrand or kind of rebuild, or in my case, you freaking lose your Instagram and have to start all over. So that's what we'll be going over today. I first want to just give you guys the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship. So I know a lot of times people are confused on what they need to actually start. And me personally, I still have a sole proprietorship. I have not felt the need to get an LLC, but there are instances where you should start your business with an LLC. So an LLC basically is when you, like, if something happens and somebody says, oh, Michaela stole my business idea, so I'm going to sue her. Instead of suing you for all of the things that you have in your car and your apartment and your dog and your freaking all the money in your bank account, they sue your business. They sue your LLC. So essentially you would lose, like your business assets, your business account money and things of that nature. But the specific definition of an LLC, and this is from nav.com, it says an LLC or limited liability company is a legal business structure for operating a business. It is popular with many business owners due to the ease of setting it up, the fact that it is often cost effective and easier to maintain than other business structures such as S Corps or C Corps, and because it can provide asset protection. And some key takeaways: you get more market credibility, liability protection in the case of certain lawsuits and commercial debts, obviously, like I just said, more financing options. So that's if you want to get loans or anything for your business, LLC would be good. You could probably get more funding. Annual state filings, and then you have tax advantages and disadvantages. The pros and cons of forming an LLC are, like I said, the higher level of market credibility. They protect against commercial debts, lawsuits, and other obligations. It's much easier to obtain equity and debt and flexibility, and also tax benefits. LLC is good if you have other people working for you. If you have maybe like 3 to 5 people on payroll, LLC is good for that. And then sole proprietorship is a business that operates as a sole proprietorship simply starts doing business without forming a separate legal entity. This is the most common business structure used by small business owners in the U.S., but it's also the most risky. Some key takeaways are no required paperwork, no annual state filing, simplified tax filing, no liability protection, difficult to obtain financing in the business name, and harder to build business credit. I know a lot of times people say that when they get an LLC over a sole proprietorship, they tend to have like a higher income with their business. So they usually suggest that if you're not making like $100,000 a year in your business, you don't really need to do a sole proprietorship. And even though it says it's a little bit more risky, the only thing that is really risky is like if you stole somebody's business idea, or like you promised to do a job for somebody, you didn't do it, and then they sue you. You are responsible for paying all the money back. Versus, like I said, if something like that happens, then your business is technically responsible. It doesn't hurt your credit, it hurts your business credit. Now, me personally, I haven't tried to get any business credit. I do have a business credit card, but I got that through my bank. But that also is another, I would say, like, con to a sole proprietorship, they had to run my credit for me to get the business credit card. But because my credit was so good, I got a good limit. So it's like a win-win. But one of the key differences and benefits of an LLC versus the sole proprietorship is the member's liability is limited to the amount of their investment in the LLC. So a member is generally not personally liable for the debts of an LLC. Again, a sole proprietor would be responsible for the debt. So just don't steal nobody's business idea and you'll be fine. Just simple as that. And then I know when you are filing for a sole proprietorship, your annual fees are $75. Well, that's in my state in Delaware. I pay $75 a year. And then I know for LLC, I believe it's $300, but you have to pay it every 6 months. So that's the only thing. But you also would just need to check with where you live at to see what are the annual fees. And believe it or not, a lot of big companies, they open up their LLC or S Corp, C Corp in Delaware because of the tax laws. So that's another thing to think about. Another thing that you'll need to start your business or restart your business is a good website host. And I recommend Shopify, not just because I use Shopify, but when you get into the email marketing and the marketing and the text messaging and the sending out orders, it's so easy to integrate other platforms with Shopify. So for my email marketing, I use Klaviyo, and it's so seamless and it was so easy. All you do is just download the app on Shopify, give them the other app or website access to your Shopify, and literally everything just transfers over so smooth. When I first started my business, I used Wix because when I was in college, that is the platform that they were suggesting everybody to use. But also because Shopify wasn't around yet and Wix was kind of like the go-to. And it was also kind of like a startup. So it's sort of like when you go to the doctor's office and they suggest a new product for you to try, it's because that company has paid, or they have like a deal with the hospital or the doctor's office to get you to use their product. Wix was cool. The only thing that I didn't really like about Wix is that it was slow, and then it was kind of just behind. Once I transferred my website over to Shopify, I was able to get so much more to help my business and also help me to grow as a business owner. And then Shopify also gives you business credit. They help you with like the setup of your website, and then they have like the free trial for $1, I believe. And then after that, if you get the basic plan, it's not too expensive. And that's what I have. I have the basic, and if you look at my website, you wouldn't even be able to tell. But also they give you ratings on how your website is doing. So I guess they have like people who every now and then go through your website and give it like an ABC score. And obviously A being good, B being okay, C being not too good. That score determines like the speed of your website, how long it takes pages to load, how long it takes people to get from one page to the next page, how long it takes your product to load, and just a bunch of other things like how easy is it to navigate your website. Right now, my score is at a B. I'm working on getting it to an A, but a B is good for me. Especially because I'm using like the basic Shopify like setup, like store setup. That's another thing I like about Shopify too, is that they have a bunch of different templates that you can just customize, and it's so easy to customize. Me, I was a MySpace girly, so I like to code a little bit, so I'm able to update the code and stuff on my website. But if you are not technologically savvy, it's super easy to do. What's another thing? I will say I have a couple of things on here, but I just want to go over like some that are like the most important, just because the rest of the stuff is going to translate into an ebook, so, and it'll go into way more detail. Okay, a PO box. I think a PO box is something that is really good for people who are starting their business, or if you're restarting, because that is something that it doesn't give your personal information. So I know we register our business address probably to our home address, but if you get a PO box, if you do returns or anything, or even like when you have your website, you have to include an address, especially like when you're sending emails or people are visiting your website at the bottom just for business purposes. A PO box is good because you don't want nobody coming to your address. You can also get a virtual PO box, and like I said, if you don't take returns, a virtual PO box would be the best option for you. You can get some mail and stuff to your virtual PO box, but that's about it. And then you just pay, I believe, monthly for it. And then if there's any issues, then you'll be fine. Like, people will know how to direct their issue to the PO box. And to piggyback off of the virtual PO box, or just the PO box in general, get a Google Voice number. I know a lot of us have 2 phones, so if one of those phones has a different number, that's cool. But if you get a Google Voice number, it's free. You just have to use it consistently. If not, they're gonna just like close the number and then you just apply for a new one. But a Google Voice number is good for people who want to get in contact with you. Or for me, like, I sometimes do local pickup, so instead of people texting my actual number, they're texting the Google Voice number, and then it still comes through to my personal phone or whatever phone I choose to use. So that's something else that's really good for, starting your business too. And then you really want to find out, like, who is your customer. You can't cater to everybody, and every business doesn't cater to everybody. They cater to a specific person. So that is one thing that's really important, especially if you are designing clothes or you're buying wholesale. You need to know who is going to be wearing your product. You don't want to just be buying a whole bunch of stuff and it's like, okay, this outfit is for a sporty girl, this outfit is for a club girl, this outfit is for a chill girl. You need to know exactly who you're selling to, so you can know how to market to them, and you can know how to target them every single time you do a photo shoot, do a campaign, do a social media post. I will say, in the beginning, when I first started, I started as a boutique. And when I say I had so many random things, like, it was just like, oh, I think this is cute, other people are going to think it's cute, so let me just buy it and put it on my website. That did not last long. It took me a long time to sell the stuff, and I didn't feel that I had any direction with where I wanted to go with my business. And then once I did my first rebrand and changed the name from Alaya B to Tomboy Tuesday, I know exactly the person and the woman that I was trying to market to, who I was trying to sell to, basically. And when I had that clear, what is the word I'm looking for? When I had that clear, like, vision, that clear plan, that is really what helped me grow Tomboy Tuesday and just grow as a business owner. And I wasn't wasting money. However, I got too excited and I was buying too much product. So this is a lesson. So right now I have about I have about 6 or 7 products, maybe 8 or 9. No, let me look. Let me give the exact number before I go into this little anecdote, because this is something that has really been affecting me as a business owner, even though I'm 5 years in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 products, and every manufacturer that I use, the MOQ is like at least 50. So I got super excited. I'm like, I need to do a drop for the spring. I need to do something for the summer. I need to do something for the fall, and I need to do something for the winter. Now I'm just sitting on a lot of product, just trying to sell it. And if I would have just took my time and said, okay, last summer of 2025, I'm just gonna do the silk scarves and not the snapback, not the Isle of Tomboy C, just literally focus on the scarves, it would have been better not only for marketing purposes, but storage purposes as well, because I still use my home for storage. I don't have a storage unit. So just thinking about that and having all of that product and then having to lug that product with me to pop-ups, from pop-ups, and just, it's just a lot. And then having to find somewhere for it to go, it's just a lot of work. Then we're gonna add in the Azina sweatsuit. I got 100 pants. Actually, I got, wait, did I get 100 pants? No, yeah, I did. I got 50 of one color, 50 of the other color, 50 hoodies in both colors. So that's 200 pieces. On top of the scarves, on top of the beanies, on top of the snapbacks. So you see it's just piling on top of stuff that I already had. And then I still have mini Tomboy t-shirts and socks that have not moved. So one thing to take away from this is to just be mindful of the products that you're buying. You don't want to overload people with too much, because yes, it's good to have options, but not too much. And then it gets harder to kind of market it. It gets harder to, like, okay, today I gotta post this, then I gotta post this. And it's like, you can't really focus in on really one thing. So what I am learning to do is, right now it's winter time, so I'm only going to focus on the sweatsuit. Every now and then I might throw the scarf like on social media or send an email about the scarf, but the main focus is the sweatsuit. And then once like the spring, like April starts to, pop back up, then I'll focus on the scarves and I'll focus on the snapbacks, because those are spring colors and a spring vibe. So just make sure that you are intentional about what you decide to buy, and you are intentional about how many pieces that you get as well, because you don't want to be sitting on product, because that's you sitting on money, and the goal is to make money, not sit on money. And finally, let's see. Okay, let's talk about launching basics. So that includes like, what shipping methods will you use? Are you going to accept returns? And packaging. And also pre-orders. So when it comes to shipping methods, there are ways to save money with shipping. You can go straight to the post office and get them to do it for you, but it's very easy to just do it at home by yourself. You just need to get a printer and decide if you want to use Shippo or if you want to make a UPS or FedEx account. Make that account, and again, Shopify, connect it all to your Shopify, and when it's time for you to process the order, you literally just click that app, make your label, and then you get at a discount rate. I use Shippo because I feel that the rates are better than UPS or FedEx, and they bill me like every time my threshold gets to $100. So I could send out like 10 orders. If the shipping total cost hasn't made it to $100 yet, I'm not charged. So that's kind of good. It gives you that time to, really like make some money, to be able to have the money in your account when it is time for you to pay the $100. And then for returns, that's up to you. You do have to think about that, restocking the item, and especially if it's something that you've been trying to get rid of and then somebody returns it. Do you want to provide them with a shipping label? Because if you do, once they use that shipping label, you are charged for it. So if you say, okay, you have 30 days to return this item, and then they return it like day 30, and then like you were trying to get some supplies for your business, but then now you have that cost coming out, it's just a hassle. And I don't, like I said, I use a P.O. box, so I don't really like people returning stuff to the P.O. box because then that becomes just too much, and the P.O. box is not big. So that's something that you just need to consider if you want to do. I just say no returns, and if they really, really, absolutely need to do a return, it's like, okay, you can exchange. Like, we're not about to, no, like we have to, the goal is to get the product out and to keep the product out. So yeah, you need to find something else. I'm so sorry. And then packaging. Now let me say something. In the beginning, I know everybody wants to have fire ass packaging, and you know they want to have create an experience. But listen, if you are just starting out, you do not need custom mailers. You do not need tissue paper. You do not need ribbon. You do not need all of the things. If you are doing pop-ups, custom bags is a good idea. Obviously for branding. So, you know, like when people are walking around with your bag, other people say, where'd you get that from? They send them right over to your table. And thank you cards are a good idea because it brings the customer back, especially if you include like a coupon code or something on there. And then also always include your social media on your thank you cards because you never know, somebody might just find you randomly, or somebody might have told them about you and they don't have a way to get in contact with you or follow you to keep up with you. That's how you lose out on repeat customers. And then let me think. For packaging, I mean, honestly, go on Amazon or go on Alibaba and just get some wholesale ones. If your brand colors are pink, black, and white, you can literally get some cute pink mailers. Get about 100 of them on Alibaba for like $20 and call it a day. You don't really want to get into like too much with the packaging when you first start up because it costs a lot of money, especially when you're getting it customized, because you could get about 100 from Alibaba for like $15, but once you start adding your logo and customization, do you want your logo on the front, do you want it on the back, do you want this, do you want that, that's when they start charging, and that adds up. And then you have to keep in mind that's something that you have to kind of keep on payroll, or something that you have to pay for, not necessarily consistently, but when you run out, you need $350 plus shipping to get more. Is that an expense that you really want when you first start out? But it's up to you. You know, if you save your money and you have a good amount, a good cushion, and you want to do that, that's fine. And then I think about brands like, I mean, Amazon, they do have their logo on there, but sometimes it just comes in like that brown poly mailer with just Amazon tape. The poly mailers, I'm pretty sure they got them wholesale from Alibaba. And then the tape, they probably got the tape, rolls of tape, wholesale from Uline or Alibaba. So it's little ways that you could, you know, make it personalized to you, but I think it's just best to just stick with something basic until you are able to have that cushion. And then finally, pre-order. So pre-order, it just honestly depends. Pre-order is something that you have to really, really build trust with people to get pre-order. I've done 2 pre-orders so far, and it was both for the sweatsuits. And the first time was horrible. Like, I ordered the sweatsuits in like October. I did not get the sweatsuits until like February, March. And people pre-ordered the sweatsuit in October. So imagine waiting. I'm telling everybody, okay, it's going to be about 60 days before they get the sweatsuit. That's right in time for the cold weather, cold season, December. It keeps getting delayed and getting delayed and getting delayed. And I'm just like freaking out and just not knowing what to do. I just keep sending emails with updates. I'm screenshotting my conversation with the manufacturer, including it in the email for the people that pre-ordered. And then to make matters worse, when I got the sweatsuits, I did not get the right sizing. So not only did the people have to wait, I had to refund like 3 people because they didn't have the sizes. They did not give me the sizes. So, and that was year, what, 3 or 4? That was like year 3 for me. So it wasn't like I was a new business. So it was just like, it was so stressful. So if you are a business starting up, you have to really be locked in with that manufacturer. Like, you have to get samples. You have to see, you know, what it's going to look like. You cannot order just on a whim. And when you are doing pre-order, you have to give yourself a good amount of time. So for the Azina sweatsuit, I started pre-order for them back in August because I knew that they would be here around the end of October, beginning of November. And yes, that was very early because it's still summertime, but it gave me that cushion to make sure that the sizing was right, make sure that they got my quantities right. And then when they got here, everything was good. They did mess up. They actually sent me like more sizes in like smalls than I needed, but I still got this all of the sizes that was requested. So it did work out, but this is just from experience, you know, like that first pre-order was just an absolute fail. This next pre-order, it was okay. I would rate it like a C, but going forward, I don't think I would do any more pre-order. I'm just going to order the product and just have it ready, because I'm noticing that with my customer, they don't want to wait. They want it now. If I post it, they're like, no, I want it now. I don't want to wait, you know? And then I feel like just from this batch with the pre-order, I think I did the pre-order a little bit too early. I think I should have waited to not only start the pre-order, but also the marketing, because I marketed in August and they were waiting until November to get it. So by the time November came and they were here, people forgot about it. So I would have done a pre-order and would have just, you know, like kept selling the hats and the scarves and all that stuff. And then probably once I got the shipping confirmation, then that's when I should have started. So I would have said, okay, yep, they'll be here this day, boom, and then it would have helped. But it is what it is. Pre-order is also good if you are ordering a lot. If you're just starting out, I would just start with like 25 to 50 pieces of whatever it is that you're going to get, because these manufacturers are going to want a deposit. They ain't about to just make this order and then you flake on them and then they wasted all this material. Like, they're going to need a deposit. So I know a lot of business owners use pre-order to get that money, but when you first starting out, and even now, it's just like, yeah, pre-orders is just like hit or miss. I honestly feel like pre-orders, I don't know, I wouldn't even say for big brands, because I know there was an incident with Hanifa, and she's a bigger brand than me, and people pre-ordered their stuff a minute ago and they still don't have it, and the only thing that they was giving was like a $30 credit to use on the website, and her dresses are like $200+. So it happens to the best of us, but pre-orders is something that you just have to proceed with caution, because hey, I do not know. If you ask me, I'm going to 0 out of 10. Don't recommend. I don't think I'll ever do any more pre-orders like ever again, because it's too much. It's just way too much. But that's all I have for this Tuesday. My product of the day is the Tomboy Tuesday Rich Tomboy silk scarf, and I'm wearing it in black around my neck. I love this scarf so much just because of the many ways that I can wear it. That is available at tomboytuesday.com. The website is always open. And I will see. Oh, hold up. I gotta do a Black History fact. Oh my gosh. What's a Black History fact I could do that I know really quick off the top of my head? Laylie Mae, she was the first woman to have her own. Nope. That, I ain't even about to sit here and play like that. She wasn't technically the first woman to have her own collab with Jordan brand, but she She did something. Hold on. We about to figure it out. I want to say she was the first person, like the first black woman to, let me see. I want to say she was like the first. I don't even want to say it because I don't want to be fact checked. I want to be right. Because you have Vashti too, but Vashti is not African American. Because she had a collab. She had a 2. Alayli May had a 1. She also had, she had a couple of 1s actually. She had 14s. So let's just say she is the first black woman with more than 1 Jordan brand collab shoe. That's for sure. I know that for sure is like actual factual. I'm gonna do better. Next week episode, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna have a better fact. I completely forgot this week that I needed to do a fact. And I thought about it after last week's episode. I'm like, oh, I need to do a Black History fact for the rest of the episode because it is Black History Month, but I'm slacking, y'all. But it's alright. Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Episode 2. We're gonna call this episode So You Wanna Start a Business. And I really hope you guys learned something. And if you have any questions or want to know more, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram. Or you can email me, tomboy@tomboytuesday.com. And remember, it's not an average Tuesday. It's a Tomboy Tuesday. I will see you guys next week. Alright, Sai, how'd I do?
It sounded pretty good, actually. Pretty confident.
Yeah, I just forgot my freaking Black History fact.